Hello, everyone. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast. If this is the first time tuning in, I am a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. Today's guest is very apropos for today's date, which is October 1st, which is the beginning of Oktoberfest. Our guest is Ron Furman, owner of Max's Taphouse in Fells Point here in Baltimore. Max's Taphouse has won amazing accolades. The current accolades, USA Today, 10 best beer bars in the USA, Forbes, best beer bar in Maryland, and Beer Advocate, top beer bar in Maryland. Along with Ron, hi Ron,
Hello.
is Jason Scheerer will be joining us in a little bit. He is the general manager and the beer uh, aficionado at Max's, so he'll join in a little bit later. Um, well, Ron, in the greetings that we do in Oktoberfest, it is Servus or Grüß Gott. Greeting. This is what the greeting is for Oktoberfest festivities. Before we get into Oktoberfest, I'd like to do a little history on you and Max's. And what was your inspiration to open Max's Taphouse?
Uh, well, we used to be called Max's on Broadway for the old timers. Um, I guess it goes back to when I was 18 years old. I worked in a bar called No Fish Today. Few of us remember it, on Utah Street, and that's when I fell in love with the bar business and the music business, and that was, I guess, how I was inspired by it. It was a great time in my life. It was a lot of fun, and I always wanted to get back to it. When the opportunity came to take this place over, I told my wife, "Look, I'm going to take it over. I'll be there 6 months. I'll set up some controls, and then I'm out of there." We had sold the family business that we were in, and I wasn't doing anything. I was, trying to find a job and a new career. And of course, it's
Who
been,
knew?
yeah, who knew? I lied, of course, but don't tell
34
her that.
years later, 34 years later. Um, you, where did you come up with the name Max's?
Ma-
Your name is,
That well, Ron's on.
oh, well, we just lost Ron. All right,
That
so
thought we turned that
there you
off.
are. There you
Uh,
are.
anyway, I as I said, Ron's on Broadway doesn't sound very good. So Max was my grandfather. And the funny part is he was in the auto parts business and quite successful. And when I worked in a bar when I was 18, he was like, he hated it. He thought that it was not a respectable job. And
And
he was a great guy. I love him. And I named the bar after him.
well,
So.
it was a good choice. Yeah, it's better than bronze on broad. Max's has some uh, weight to it. Um, so in '86 you started. It was a music venue. Then what was it? The early '90s that he turned it. You had the idea for this tap house and doing
Yeah,
more taps.
the music business, while I loved it and it was a lot of fun, I did shows here in the bar and I also did some shows outside. I managed an act that got signed to Warner Brothers. It was a great time, but it was a tough way to make a living in a venue this size. And I had a family and, I needed to bring home a paycheck. So I woke up one day and I said, I've had it. That's it. And I just wanted to make like the perfect rec room. You've been to that guy's house that had everything. They had back in the day. They had a giant TV. Before they became normal. Normal. An aquarium. We had I wanted the best beer selection. At the time, I think Alonzo's was one of the few places that had a large selection. Alonzo's on Cold Spring Lane. I think they had like 60 beers in bottles. And, people thought that Carlsberg was an exotic beer, or Grouch, So, I wanted to one up everybody. So I brought in the coolers, and then we put the tap system in. We started off with 24 taps. I wanted the longest bar in Baltimore. So I made it 45 feet long, and then somebody told me there was one that was longer. So I added another 10 feet, and then I ran out of room. So if there was a longer one, I'd have to buy another building. So, but we started off with 24 taps, and pretty soon, they were turning, very well, because most places you went into had 6 taps maybe. People didn't drink draft beer like they do today. Systems weren't cleaned regularly, and draft beer didn't have the best reputation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we expanded it. We went to 68, and then we added more. And now I think we have 107 taps, different beers, not just this. We have 150 some taps, but 107 different beers plus 5 beer engines. And of course, because of COVID, they're not all up and running. Right now, I think we have 40 on tap, which is probably more than most places you will find.
Right.
So
I think there's a quote somewhere in things that I was looking up that that Max's, when you come to Max's, you never have to drink the same beer twice. And somebody said of Max's, you go to Max's for its selection and the experience it provides.
Well, the one thing, yes, it's about the beer, but it's also about my staff. When COVID hit, we had almost 30 employees. And today, I think we've been able to bring back about 10. And that's probably what hurts the most. I have great staff, and they really know their product, and that's what it's all about. And most of my staff has been here 10 to 20 years. So it's been a pleasure, and it's been great watching everybody grow up, and it's a family.
Well, we got some questions coming in, and we're talking about family. So, Jen, why don't we bring in Jason, and we'll have him join the conversation. Here is the beer aficionado. Hi, Jason.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing fine here. If you're just tuning in now, we have Ron Furman, who is the owner of Max's Taphouse in Fells Point here in Baltimore, and Jason Scheerer, the general manager at Max's Taphouse. And we're going to talk Oktoberfest, what's new at Max's. And if you want to get more details, it's very simple to find the webpage, max's.com, maxs.com. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram is Max's Taphouse. So let's kick in. Today starts Oktoberfest down at Max's. What are you all doing?
Oh, I'll start off.
Go for it, Jason. It's you.
Well, typically our Oktoberfest, German Fest would be authentic German beers, but we would have a ton of them, 60 plus drafts on. But because of what's going on, we had to shrink it down a little bit, and I played around with just doing authentic German beers only, or supporting Maryland breweries. And this year I'm doing half authentic and half local breweries that are doing German style beers. That way you can get a knack of what they're doing, and you can compare to the real deal. And starts today, and we got about 22 drafts on for German.
22 drafts, and you now have a new window, and you've built a beer garden. Who wants to take that, Ron or Jason?
I'll take it. With COVID, one of the things that is real important to us is protecting our staff and also protecting our customers. And yeah, it was our answer to being able to service our customers safely and to stay open. And we're lucky and fortunate. We've been blessed. We haven't had any incidences that have really put us out of commission. It's a tough time. So I put the window in, and that way we can serve outdoors. And then the city, I should say, gave us permission to put parklets on the street. So everything you see out there is recycled. My favorite times are spent working in my workshop, and I have collected what my wife calls trash and I call treasures for building things at my house. And so everything that you see out there was destined for the scrapyard or the junkyard. A friend of mine, he does windows. He gave me the aluminum extrusion pieces that they were left over from a job. And
Right.
So thank you, Ronnie Green and Trevor, for helping me out at Quality Walls and Windows. Give them a little plug. I had some wood left over that the little pickets that they were from bunk beds that a guy, he had sold his business and he had some pallets of wood, and I took the things apart, and that's what we made that out of. So everything was made out of scrap. And that's kind of what in Max's, everything is recycled. The floors came out of the old Seagram's distillery. The floors on the second floor, the floors on the first floor came out of Southway bowling lanes when they closed that up. And, everything, there's a little piece of history everywhere you look in here.
Right. And so October 1st, today, through Sunday, October 4th, what hours are you running?
You, Jason.
We're running our normal hours, which we've been doing over the summer. It's not quite like it used to be back in March, but Tuesday we're going through 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, Tuesday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday, noon to 10, and Sunday we're running noon to 8.
Noon to 8. Okay, great. So you have, going along with these, what was it, 40 German style beers and German beers? Just trying to see. You have an Oktoberfest weekend menu for people. And of course, you have to have that Bavarian big soft pretzel, but you've Marylandized it. It's got some crab on it. They can get the regular, but you can get a crab Bavarian soft pretzel. Am I correct?
Which is huge. I wish I had one, but
it's definitely not a one-person meal.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not a one-person.
You're right. So you have that. You have some bratwurst, Natty Bow bratwurst, and some other, traditional items that we sell here.
Right. Okay. So how many, I know because COVID probably affected this, but how many bottles of beer, different beers, do you have at Max's, approximately?
Well, that's a hard, I wouldn't say approximately, but we're looking at, I'd say 2,000 different bottles of beer in this establishment.
Well, that goes back to you can come in there every day for a year and have a different beer.
Yes, you
absolutely.
Can.
For more than a year.
That's definitely true.
For many years.
For 3 years. 3 years. Let me go look here. I have some hellos. Jeannie Sigel says hi. Randy Rom wants to know about the night Danny Bonaducci was there.
Danny Bonaducci opened up for David Cassidy, which, we in the music era of Max's, we did everybody from Smashing Pumpkins to David Cassidy. It was 7 nights a week, a different act every night. And David it was his comeback tour. And you got to remember, this is a guy who played stadiums, and sold them out, and had riots when he would, after the shows, because they were trying to get to the limo. And here he's playing Max's two shows sold out on a Monday night. And it was a hoot. Great people, really great people. And it was a good time.
Well, David Dertzowitz is bringing up another night. Maybe we don't want to go in depth, but he says Hunter Thompson.
Oh boy, yeah, Hunter. that I guess
We
I
won't
could tell
go in.
this.
Go ahead.
It'll be all right.
Anything goes here.
Yeah, of course, they pulled up in a Cadillac, a white Cadillac. His manager was driving. There was another guy in the front seat, and I opened the back door. Hunter was in the back, and he fell over the seat, and he had a bottle of Chevitz in one hand and a pipe in the other. And the bottle of Chevitz was almost empty. So the first show was a little tough. We did 2 shows. They were both sold out. We needed to sober him up a little bit. The second show was great. And of course, all the reporters were there for the first show. So it kind of got panned. But, the fact of the matter is most people just wanted to be in the same room with Hunter Thompson. And it was a piece of history. So it was pretty cool. It was crazy.
Another hello from Lauren Eskoff.
Hello, Lauren.
And I don't want to sit here. I need to speak to Jason. I need to know about beers and what you're doing. Pre-COVID, you were doing wine lounge. What, the Whale Lounge, not the Wine Lounge. I can't read, and they say this is the city you can read. I can't read my own typing. The Whale Lounge. Can you explain what it was and what it is now?
Well, what it was is we have a bartender, Scooter, who is also very knowledgeable in beer. And every Friday night in the upstairs bar, he would pick out 4 to 5 different beers that were, not usual or hard to get, very rare, and also a bourbon. And they would do a tasting, and they would sit around and they would talk about each beer as they were going through them all. But now that we can't do that, we figured we could try to do the same thing, try to keep it as normal as possible, and do it virtual. So we do a YouTube live stream of the same thing. He picks out beers during the week that he would like to do. I would order them, and people would order 8 ounces of a to-go can that we offer here at Max's. And well, there you go. It's not that size. It's about 8 ounces that way. Like some of these beers are like 10, 15%. So you don't want to do that much beer of that. But and it's working out pretty well. And every week we get a guest, either a brewer or a chef that knows about the beer, and they discuss it online, and it's been working out pretty well for us.
Is it every Thursday or every other Thursday?
Right now it's every other Thursday, but it's getting a bit more successful, and we're going to try to do it every week in the near future.
Well, the people can find it. There is a YouTube channel that they can watch the previous tastings, but they can buy the kit of some sort. Yeah. Like if you decide to try all shanties, I don't know from beers. They can pick up the beers, take it home, and along with your guests,
yes,
and Scooter and you taste these beers.
Yes, once you ordered, well, we have the beers available. We have a little website that tells you what beers are available. You pick what beers you want. You can either do a 3 or a whole pack, and depending on if you like that sort of beer. You bring it home, but you also get a placemat that Ron designs with a spot for each of the beers that gives you a little description of what you're drinking, and that way they can read along with it. They can taste along with everybody in the YouTube video. So, and
they can also, Dara, they can ask questions, and Scooter will answer them. They can send in,
do that online.
And do it online. One of the challenges is engaging with your customer and creating these situations. And so you can look for us to do more of shows like that in the future. It's there's only so many hours in the day, and we have a small staff, but we're going to get to it where other shows. Jason's going to be hosting a show, and I might even do a show.
Actually, once a week,
woodworking with Ron.
Once a week, I do a short video. I grab 3 different beers in the bar, and they're the featured beers of the week. I give you a brief description, and if you buy a bundle, you get a little discount. I've been doing that for about a month now, so there's some videos out there.
So is that on the web page or your Facebook page?
It's we air it on Facebook and Instagram every Monday or Tuesday morning.
Everybody, that's Max's Taphouse, Instagram, Facebook, and their website. If you want to purchase, you go to max's.com. How is beer tasting different? Look. Yes, Ron.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was going to say that if you go to shopmaxes.com, you can order any of our bottled beers, or
and drafts
that, so any of those 2,000 beers, and some of them are quite exotic and quite rare, very rare. And if you want, email Jason and he can, help you out, or give us a call.
Yeah.
And we can walk you through it and pick out some stuff for you. If you want to get a bunch of friends together and you want to have your own tasting, we can put that together for you also.
Okay, so rather than maxes.com, it's shopmaxes.com.
Yes, or you can get to it through maxes.com, either one.
Yeah,
right.
There's a link once you get to the website and the Facebook page.
Okay. I don't want people to miss out. They want that special beer. So if you're drinking wine, there's you hold the wine glass this way, and you see if it has legs, and, you smell it. What is a beer tasting like? Because I've not been.
A lot of different beers actually come with a lot of different glasses, a lot of different temperatures, a lot of different aging. And there's so many different types of beer. You'd be amazed on the styles nowadays. I lost them. But you can actually do with a wine. You'll let it sit, warm, breathe. Same sort of things happen with a bourbon barrel aged stout. You get it chilled. You take a sip, take a smell, let it sit for a few minutes, let it warm up, and a lot of the flavors will come out a little bit different. So it's similar and different at the same time.
You did something. Did you want to say something, Ron?
I was just going to say, and one of the things about beer is it's just like the wine business. There are beers that cost $4, and there are beers that cost $150.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Adams Utopia is, what's the going price now, Jason?
The going price, 200 plus, depending on the year.
No, I think it's almost 400. 350 or 400.
Yeah, depending on the year, but yeah, it gets up to $400 to $500. And I've sold quite a few bottles in the past few years.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
and at that point, that particular beer, it almost tastes like a maple brandy, and it runs at about 26% alcohol.
Yeah.
You've done some special events during COVID. You did the Hop Fest, where you put together the hoppiest beers.
Well, in the past, we've had certain events every year, and I didn't want to lose that for our customers and for our staff. Like German Fest, it was a little bit different, where I couldn't have 60, 70 drafts on of beers all around the world. I really wanted to do local breweries again. I really want to support the people around Maryland, and that's what we did. So we ended up doing 22 different Maryland breweries for their hoppiest beer they had at the time.
And you have a Black Friday coming up.
We do have a Black Friday. It's a little spin on the day after Thanksgiving, when all the wives are out shopping in Fells Point, and the husbands can stop by and have a dark beer. And these beers are going to be typically very high in alcohol, bourbon barrel aged, very rare. It's a really cool event, and we'll be having it the day after Thanksgiving.
Boy, you are really going to get in trouble, Jason, for that comment.
I mean, that's how we spun it, but that's how it works.
There's a lot of ladies out there that love beer.
Oh, I'm no denying that.
Well, hopefully Ron will come back in. If not, we always tend
What
to
happened?
I don't know, Ron.
You faded the
maybe
black.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can go out and come back in. I'll speak to Jason for the time being, and you know, you have more than beer there. So somebody sent a note in saying, do you just have a beer license? But you do have, there he is. Hi, Ron. We learned how to fix this. So going along with this, I lost my train of thought.
I got it.
What other items are you selling there beyond beer? I know years ago I was down there for cigar things, but what other alcohol?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about your menu.
Yeah, for other alcohol, more than just beer, we also have a ton of vintage ciders and a ton of vintage meads, which is a honey wine. We also have been growing our bourbon collection.
Yeah, the bourbon collection's pretty much off the charts.
It is. It's growing every week.
And we do have a container that we can sell you small tastes of, bourbon. So if you want to buy an ounce and a half of bourbon, we got it for you.
Which is also on shop.maxis.com.
That was Tom's favorite, may he rest. So we're going to come back to, you threw it up. We have two menus here. We have Oktoberfest and the other menu. So what is new? What are you doing different? We have some favorites on the menu that have always been down at Max's, but you have some new items that you're doing. Ron, do you care to address that?
You know I do. Come on. So with COVID, we needed to develop a new model. And one of the things that we're really good at is reinventing ourselves all the time. We've gone from the music business and we've been in the cigar business and, or the tobacco business, I would say. And we've always sold food, but it's never been, I never wanted to have a place where you'd call up and make reservations. That wasn't my deal. I wanted to keep it casual. After doing a ticketed live music events for years, no more. I wanted to be irresponsible as I could be. And, as irresponsible as a bar owner should be. Ask my wife. So we developed a new menu that's more about carrying out and taking home. And I went to a friend of mine, and I'll be upfront and honest. And it's a great story because I went to a friend of mine, Steve Rogers, who owns Outlaw Barbecue in Hampstead. And if you haven't been there, it's the best pit beef in Maryland. It's the number one. So I said, Steve, what do I do? I need to, teach me how to do pit beef, man. And and before I could even finish, and I thought I was asking for the ultimate secret recipes. He said, Ron, let's get started. No problem. And Steve sat down, and his wife, Leah, his whole family, they embraced helping us out. And it was, I get a tear in my eye talking about it because it's about one restaurant owner, and another, and he was trying to just save our business. Once winter comes, I don't know if I'm going to open the doors and bring people inside. It's, and I don't think my employees are going to look forward to that either. So, but you can come to Max's and you can take it to your house. And, so we developed this menu that's got pit beef and pit turkey and it's got pulled pork on it. I brought a smoker in. I lost my
You
smoker.
can buy
It was in
that.
my house.
I'm
And
looking. They can buy that by the pound, so they could take it home
oh yeah,
that way.
but the sandwiches are awesome. You got and for you vegetarians, we've got a portobello, smoked portobello that's off the charts. Um, I think we've hit a home run here. The product's great, and we launch that menu next week. So come on down. You'll be able to pick it up, take it home. Everything will be packed up for you perfectly, COVID safe, and we're looking forward to being your next meal.
Sounds great. I'm not going to ask you the typical question about that I usually do, like what was your ultimate culinary fail? We talked about this, but a funny story or two about Max's or something touching. And I think, Ron, you raised your hand prior to the show. So
Yeah, I'm pretty much an introvert. I don't really like to talk, but I think we've all figured that out. Yeah. So one of the funniest things I ever did, I think, was my April Fool's jokes that I used to do. And the first one was Maxine's Show Bar. And we had just recently opened the second floor and expanded. And if anybody knows about the politics in Fells Point, sometimes it can be a little tough, to get things like that done. But the neighborhood gave us permission. We opened up on the second floor, and the April Fools fell on a Wednesday, which is the day that the city paper came out. So on a right-hand full-page ad, it said Maxine Show Bar on the third floor at Max's, and it had that old silhouette, like a girl sitting up, with her legs crossed.
right.
You know the one I'm talking about. And we also were on 98 Rock, which I think they were going to run like 40 ads, and I think they ran 400 because it was just a great ad. It said something like "Girls, girls, girls," at Maxine Show Bar on the third floor, and I'll post the commercial on the Facebook page, and my daughter will tell me how to do that. But it was a lot of fun, and the media came down, and the neighbors went crazy, saying Ron Furman can't open up a strip bar. He needs a hearing, an adult entertainment license, and there's no way that's going to happen in Fells Point. And well, we had a good time with it. And a few years later, I opened my place over at my Camden Yards, which was my biggest culinary fail. Open up a restaurant across from Camden Yards when the Orioles are starting to tank, and between that and the tunnel fire and everything else. But we'll forget about those. But I ran for mayor for one day, and it was Ron Max Furman, a citizen, not a politician, with the American flag in the background, and Anthony McCarthy, who was the editor of the Afro-American, was my campaign manager, and Bruce Barriano, who's a lobbyist who was under house arrest for something, was my campaign manager, and Martin O'Malley had not thrown his hat in the ring yet, and people were calling me, offering to work for me, and where do they send the check, and it was great.
It was
a lot
great
of fun.
fun. Well, let me go to Jason. As for beers,
Yeah.
and what we have down at Max's, is there something that I didn't ask that I should have that should be promoted?
Yeah, I mean, we have different things going on throughout the week. We do every Friday a 32-ounce big ass draft for $7. That's one of our specials we've had pre-COVID, and we just wanted to keep it going. Also, we started doing beer slushies and alcoholic slushies for outside during the summer. And now that the weather's turning, we're going to transition into alcoholic hot beverages, maybe a spiked cocoa or an Irish coffee. And hopefully when you walk past the window, you see the machines, you get yourself a nice hot cup of something good and hang out for a while.
Yeah, it sounds
And,
good,
and we now
Ron.
have blanket. We now have Max's
Oh, that's
blankets.
true.
That's right. So you can come down, you can get a blanket, and you can sit out there and stay warm and
Max's
hang
Max's
out.
blankets.
So everyone, you want to know how to get involved or buy some of these things or pre-order, it's shop@max's.com or through their website, max's.com, social media, Max's Taphouse on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I hope Bryna believes that I've done my best job here to get the information out. I thank you so much. I wish you success. May things turn around. And I really appreciate Jason and Ron sharing your time because things are kicking off today. It's Oktoberfest. So as I said before, Grüß Gott. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. And what I wanted to say to everyone, as always, this will be up on JMOR's Facebook page. In a couple hours, will be up on jmoreliving.com. If you want to reach me, you can contact me at food@jmoreliving.com. My social media is @Dara Cooks or @Dining Dish. I thank you, as always, for joining in, sharing the show with people who you think will enjoy. And as always, wear your mask, stay safe, and may your plates always, always remain full. I will see you next week.